Being a first-time home buyer doesn't necessarily mean that you're purchasing your first home. It just means that you're purchasing your first house in a new area. And with that comes a ton of questions. And I want to make sure that you guys get all the details of the best areas to purchase in if this is going to be your first purchase in Albuquerque. With all the different neighborhoods that we have here, I am sure that you're overwhelmed with what area should you pick. You've heard different things of what's safe, what's not, where you should put your kids in. I mean, there's a ton of questions and a ton of uncertainty that you guys have. That's probably why you're watching this video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over some of the top neighborhoods here in Albuquerque that many of our first-time home buyers that are relocation clients are picking to choose in just because of what they offer. Now, as much as I love doing these videos, guys, I would love to also help you out with your real estate needs. My name is Eli, and that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to call or text at any time because I'd love to help you out with getting you into that next step to purchasing that perfect house here in Albuquerque. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom because we are dropping videos every week talking about what this beautiful city of Albuquerque has to offer in terms of lifestyle, affordability, and homes, and everything else that you can possibly think of. Now, there's one neighborhood that I really like to talk about in particular when it comes down to helping first-time home buyers, and not just in the sense of buying your first home, but first-time home buyers here to Albuquerque, and that's going to be the Ler Heights neighborhood. Now, the Ler Heights neighborhood offers a ton of affordable options when it comes to housing. Now, why are more families choosing to move to this side of town? Well, I'll tell you, there's a golf course right around the corner from this neighborhood that is a public course, so it's not that expensive. You're not gonna have to pay crazy fees. I think just a couple bucks, even if you wanna go and take your kiddos. It's a good afternoon thing just to get out of the house, enjoy the nature and quietness of being on a golf course. Now, another cool thing is all the different parks that are on this side of town. You're very close to Mariposa Park, the Petroglyphs, and other tucked away parks that are amongst the neighborhoods that virtually every neighborhood that you go into is going to have a park. Now, in terms of amenities, guys, this side of town has 2 Walmarts, a neighborhood, and a super center, and it's actually 5 minutes away from the Home Depot. So when you become a homeowner, and if you guys have been watching this channel, you know that I like to talk about how close in proximity this neighborhood is to the Home Depot, because if you have to make a trip in the middle of the night to Home Depot before they close, it's gonna be a lot easier if it's down the street versus 15 minutes away, especially if you run into an emergency where, I don't know, like I did, the water in the shower just wouldn't stop running and you had to switch out the valve that was in there. We immediately fixed it that night because the Home Depot was super close to us. Now, you are gonna be 15 minutes away from the Sprouts and about 20 minutes away from Cottonwood Mall. Tons of shopping and amenities on this side of town. All different choices and things that you can choose from, and you are also going to have super easy freeway access because you can either access the freeway through Unser, and I'll put up a picture of the map, that way you can see how close this neighborhood is to the freeway. So you can either access it through Coors or you can access it through Unser. Like, so many different ways that you can get to it from here. If one way is backed up, then you'll be able to get to and from your house one way or another. So a couple things to think about there is convenience, affordability, and the amenities that are all around this neighborhood are going to be super beneficial to you and your family. And one of the biggest bonus tips that I can tell you, that Ler Heights offers a wide variety of home options, not in the sense of affordability, but as far as style goes. You can have a super new home right in those new developments that are past 98th, or you can have what is a newer home in terms of Albuquerque, because this side of town is one of the younger sides. Some of the homes on this side of town will go into like the late 80s versus the other side of town, which go into like the 1930s and 1960s. So everybody has their preference. The homes on this side of town, a little bit more cookie cutter style, bigger yards, kind of something that they did back in the day because this side of town was considered a luxury kind of living. So something to think about there. But let's hop into this next neighborhood, guys. So if you've ever heard anybody say they live in Window Ranch, that's because that's a local way of telling you that they live in Ventana Ranch. Ventana Ranch is a well-established community, and I love this place for first-time homebuyers because it offers a ton of things. Same like Ladera, it is a super family-friendly area. You got tons of amenities around you, and this is all going to cost you around $350,000 to $400,000. So that price tag isn't going to be super big unless you are purchasing in those newer developments where they can go past $500,000. But in this well-established community, there's a few things that you can experience. A ton of parks, an HOA that meticulously takes care of the neighborhood, you know, in and around the whole area. It's crazy when you're driving through there. All the bushes are nicely trimmed, all the trees are trimmed, all the trash is picked up, the walkways are paved, they're not sidewalks. So there's a ton of things to do for you guys and to enjoy when you do live in Ventana Ranch. Now, Ventana Ranch also has a major park. Ventana Ranch Park, which I go and play pickleball from time to time, and they hold tournaments there. And some of these older people, no offense, but they are badass when it comes to this sport. They go out there and they kick some butt. And maybe I hold a grudge because the last time we were there, we got our butts kicked by two older ladies that barely even moved on the court, and I was huffing and puffing. So if I ever see those two ladies again, I'm gonna give them, you know, some daps and just tell them like, hey, good game, and you guys definitely kick butt. Aside from the pickleball, guys, you can enjoy, you know, different walks around the parks that they have all tucked around the different neighborhoods. You can enjoy all the walking trails and all the open space that it has. So if you enjoy like dirt biking, going off-roading, using your side-by-side, the accessibility to these outdoor things is gonna be super easy for you to just, you know, pretty much drive out of your driveway and head up into the mesa. So super cool to live on this side of town. Now you are gonna be in kind of like the Cibola, Volcano Vista School District. I think there's a road that cuts it all off. I'm not too sure on that one there, but two great school districts on this side of town, and you're super close to the mall and all the best dining options. You are gonna be like 10 minutes, 5 minutes away from a Costco versus me where I have to drive like 20 minutes in traffic sometimes to get to the Costco and to the things on that side of town. But if you enjoy dining out, you wanna be close to all these shopping things, and you wanna be close to you know, the outdoors and still have this sense of being in the suburbs and have all these amenities, Ventana Ranch is gonna be a place for you guys. Now, a bonus thing that I could give you guys about this area is that some of the lots were built a little bit bigger and some of the homes were built to accommodate growing families. So if this is you and that's what you're looking for, this is where you're gonna wanna look. This next area, guys, is smack dab right in the middle of the last two that we talked about. Paradise Hills is one of those areas on the west side that is considered to be a luxurious neighborhood. Now, it still kind of is because they built a ton of custom homes and they built it around the golf course. Of course, this is in a video about neighborhoods and golf courses. This is just what happens to be on the west side. And I like talking about the west side because it offers a ton of the first-time home buyer, not only in terms of affordability, but amenities and just accessibility to family-friendly things. Now, Paradise Hills is all of that, guys. Now, you can purchase a great home for under $500,000 in this neighborhood. And I'm gonna give you a bonus tip at the end to let you know why a lot of people tend to move to Paradise Hills. And really just backtracking, talking about the amenities in Paradise Hills, you are gonna have like a short drive to all the previous things that I talked about, to the Costco, to the mall, to the dinings, steakhouses. All that is gonna be right there in that Cottonwood area, which is really a hop, skip, and a jump from this neighborhood. Now, you do have a ton of great schools. Again, you're in that Cibola, kind of Volcano Vista high school district. And of course, just being smack dab in the middle of the west side, you are gonna be accessible to all things that you need. So if you need to drive to the freeway, it's really just gonna be maybe 10 minutes down the road, but you can still access the east side very easily through Paseo and through Montano, of course, if you are planning on driving to work to that side of town. But the whole reason that a lot of people move to this side of town, number one, they are living in an established neighborhood at an affordable price, right? And you get city and mountain views like no other. The only other place that you can get city and mountain views like this on the west side is gonna be in the luxurious Petroglyphs neighborhood, which you are gonna be paying close to about $1 million for a house in that neighborhood. But I don't really like to talk about those neighborhoods because it's kind of not my scope sometimes when it comes to like over $1 million, especially when we are talking about Albuquerque, because a ton of you guys are calling me and having these conversations with me about moving down here because it's a lot more affordable. So just being realistic about the thing, right? You guys see my whole persona. I want to make sure that I can be transparent and as authentic as possible for you guys. The last neighborhood is going to take us across the river to the Northeast Heights. The Northeast Heights, of course, I talked a ton about this neighborhood because it provides a ton of value to families in the sense of being close proximity to the mountains, outdoor trails, and having all the possible amenities that you can need really 15 minutes down the road from you. Now, you will pay over $400,000 for a pretty decent house on this side of town. We've sold a ton of them this year, and just seeing how much people are liking the charm and kind of the personal touches that some of these revamped homes have on this side of town are super cool to see, and you really don't get that anymore in, you know, these newer developments. They all pretty much look the same. So when you are dealing with creative people and, you know, families that like creative spaces, they are looking on this side of town. Not only because, number one, you know, that price tag around $400,000 for a mid-century modern Moss Man home is super appealing, because in California you'd pay millions of dollars for that type of house, but you're gonna pay close to about $400,000 to $500,000 for that style of house. A couple of things to consider when living on this side of town, guys, is that you are gonna have all the fun things and attractions. So if you need to keep your kiddos busy, you have like Coronado Mall, Uptown, if you wanna take them shopping and all that stuff, if you need to go shopping, or you're gonna have Uncle Cliff's, Main Event, and Hinkle Family Fun Tent around this side of town as well. You got Peter Piper's and Chuck E. Cheese also tucked along in those neighborhoods. So really anything that you could possibly wanna do, you like to go vintage shopping, you just need a specialty thing, it is gonna be on this side of town, and it's gonna be super easy for you to access. Now, you are gonna be in the El Dorado School District, which is a top-rated school here in New Mexico. A lot of people may think different because they hold their grudges with the football teams and stuff like that. And that's another thing about New Mexico, is that since we don't have a major team, our local teams here, especially when it comes down to school districts, really get super competitive. So if you got a kiddo that's into sports, just know that you are gonna have some rivals, and those football games are essentially going to feel like the ones that you are watching on TV for the national leagues. So another cool thing that I like to point out is that this side of town, again, like I said, you may pay a little bit more for it, but the houses here are going to be a little bit older, so they have unique charm and unique features. But majority of the time, they are going to be move-in ready, because people have been well established in these areas. Some of the older people that are, you know, moving on and, you know, moving into care facilities, or just moving in with a relative or a loved one, are selling their homes. So there's a ton of opportunity to purchase an older home with charm, and that has been well taken care of for many years. So if you do plan on moving to the northeast side or to the east side of Albuquerque, there's a ton for you, and I'd like to explore those with you more if you do have any more questions, because there's a ton of different neighborhoods on that side of town that you might not know about. Alrighty guys, so whether you're drawn to, you know, city views and mountain views, or you just want to live super close to the mountains, guys, wherever you pick for yourself or your growing family, all these areas are going to be a perfect fit for you guys. So I don't really like to pigeonhole it to one, because some sides of the town really speak to one person versus the other. Whether you want to live super close to the mesa or super close to the mountains, or you just want to live in close proximity to all the amenities, guys, we can help you with that. And again, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. And as much as I love doing these videos, I would love to help you out with your real estate needs. So feel free to call, text at any time, because we want to make sure that you get the proper help when it comes down to moving to Albuquerque. But as far as you guys can see, I got my Dodger hat on today. Today is game 1 of the World Series here in 2024. I'm super excited, and I might get some hate for it, but I'd like to know what you guys think about your move to Albuquerque. Drop it down in the comments below, and I also got a free guide for you. If you want it, feel free to text me the word guide, and I'll get it over to you guys. Other than that, we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.